Shalom, shalom, and welcome back. Today we are talking about the flaming sword of Eden, guarding the way to life, the fiery barrier between fallen man and paradise, the mystery of the flaming sword. The first recorded sword in the Bible is one of divine fire and judgment, the flaming sword of Eden. It appears immediately after Adam and Eve's expulsion from the Garden of Eden. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the garden of Eden cherubims, and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. Genesis chapter 3 verse 24. This mysterious supernatural weapon was placed by God to guard the tree of life, ensuring that fallen humanity could not re-enter Eden and eat from it. The flaming sword is the first barrier between man and immorality, a stark reminder of the consequences of sin. But this sword is more than just a weapon. It is a symbol of judgment, separation, and ultimately redemption. Now, the flaming sword as a symbol of judgment, the flaming sword as divine retribution. Adam and Eve's expulsion from the Garden of Eden was not merely punishment, it was a consequence of their spiritual fall. When they disobeyed God by eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, sin entered the world. Now, before the fall, they walked with God in perfect fellowship. After the fall, they were driven out and barred from Eden. The flaming sword is the first instance of divine judgment in the Bible, unlike the later sword of the Lord, which brings deliverance to the righteous. This sword was purely one of separation and wrath. Why was this necessary? Let's look at this. To prevent eternal sinfulness, if Adam had eaten from the tree of life after falling into sin, he would have lived forever in a fallen state. Also, to maintain God's holiness, a holy God cannot allow sinful man into his presence without redemption. What about the foreshadow redemption? The sword was a temporary barrier between the promised seed of the woman in Genesis 3, verse 15, would bring salvation. Now, the role of fire in divine judgment. The flaming sword wasn't just any sword, it burnt with fire. Fire is often associated with God's judgment. Sodom and Gomorrah. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. Genesis chapter 19, verse 24. Moses and the burning bush. The fire in the bush did not consume it, symbolizing God's holy presence. Exodus chapter 3, verse 2. The lake of fire. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Revelation chapter 20, verse 15. The flaming sword of Eden represents God's fiery justice, an unpassable barrier that only divine intervention can remove. The flaming sword as a symbol of separation from God's presence. The driving out of Adam and Eve from Eden was not just physical, it was spiritual. Eden was where man met with God. The expulsion meant a broken relationship between God and humanity. The sword ensured that this separation was enforced. This separation is a foundational doctrine in Scripture. But your iniquities have separated between you and your God, and your sins have hid his face from you, that he will not hear. Isaiah chapter 59, verse 2. Sin creates a barrier between man and God, just as the flaming sword physically barred the way to the tree of life. Sin spiritually bars mankind from God's kingdom. Now, sin always separates us from fellowship with God. Only through Christ's sacrifice can the barrier be removed. We must guard our spiritual Eden, our walk with God, by avoiding compromise with sin. The flaming sword and the veil in the temple. The flaming sword can also be compared to the veil in the temple, which separated the Holy of Holies from the rest of the world. The veil blocked access to God's presence. God bless and shalom.